Welcome to The Smart Move. I'm Brandy Rose July, your real estate and project professional, and I'm so glad you're here. This podcast is all about helping North Texans make smarter moves in real estate, local life, business, and the practical decisions that shape where and how we live. I love supporting the local community, practical solutions, and helping people make smart moves that support the life they're trying to build. I'm your host, Brandy Rose July, and I'm a realtor with Century 21 Judge Fite Co., serving North Texas in the DFW Metroplex. Today, I'm honored to welcome Jim Fite to the Smart Move.
Hi, Brandy.
Hi. Jim is the Chief Executive Officer of Century 21 Judge Fite Company and a true leader in the real estate industry. He is known not only for helping grow one of the most respected and diversified real estate organizations in Texas and Oklahoma, but also for his leadership philosophy centered on developing people, serving others, and choosing to succeed rather than simply survive. From starting his career as the youngest licensed real estate agent in Texas to building a legacy of entrepreneurship, mentorship, and service, Jim's story is one of vision, growth, and impact, and he's also deeply committed to giving back through charitable efforts, community involvement, and investing in the success of others. Jim, thank you so much for joining me on The Smart Move.
Thank you, and glad to be here. Would you send that intro to my wife, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll just copy and paste it so she can use it every time you go anywhere.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Well, Jim, I'd like to start at the beginning. You've built an incredible career over the years, but every story starts somewhere. So tell us a little bit about your journey into real estate, entrepreneurship, and how that path first began for you.
Well, I'll make it as short as I can, but I started working in our company at 11 years old.
I think we have some laws against that now.
Probably so, but not with your parents.
Yeah.
No, all four of us kids, I'm the baby of four, and all four of us kids started out cleaning our dad's office. And that's what I did at 11 years old. I cleaned it every week and I got paid $40 a month. That would be $10 per week for cleaning the office. And that's where I started selling real estate, I guess. I didn't sell any that time. He actually gave me a business card. It said, Vice President in charge of maintenance. And he gave me a set of cards and he said, I want you to go to your school, elementary school, and I want you to give 2 cards to every teacher. And I want you to say these words. Hi, my dad is in real estate. Do you know one person interested in buying or selling real estate? And sure enough, the librarian wanted to sell her house and buy another one, and I referred her to my dad. And that's how I got started.
You got your first referral.
Yeah,
wow.
The first referral I got. You're going to ask me if I got a referral fee, right?
Yeah, did you get paid?
He said, you get to eat and you get shelter.
You get a place to live.
Thanks for the referral.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then, of course, rolling on through high school and so forth, and graduated a semester early. Not because I'm smart, but I got enough credits so I could get out. And then I, stayed at a community college one semester, went off to college one semester. I should have gone to class, Brandy, quite honestly. I learned a lot what not to do. And came back home at Thanksgiving and told my parents I wanted to quit college and go into real estate.
Nice.
I'm not recommending that.
Yeah.
People do that. Both my children got a college education, business and entrepreneurship. My daughter got one in entrepreneurship. But I did. I came back in, got my real estate license. Back then, you had to be 21 to get a license. You had to be, that was a legal age. And I was 18. And I just turned 18. And they had to take me in front of a judge and have my disabilities of a minor removed.
Really?
So I could be a legal adult.
Wow.
And sit for my real estate exam. And by the way, I failed my real estate exam the first time. I should have studied. I learned.
He's like, I already know this.
I can do this.
I've been doing this since I was 11.
But anyway, that was the beginning because I was 18, that led to being the youngest realtor actually in Texas and the United States at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah. A couple years ago. Yeah. So as you look back on the growth of Century 21 Judge Fite Company over the years, what do you think has mattered most in building something that has lasted and grown the way that it has?
Anytime you interview the CEO or president of a company, you're probably going to hear the same answer. So it's kind of redundant repetition, but reality is people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we do all things through people.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the right people, you don't get the right results. If you get the wrong people, you get the wrong results. And certainly we've stubbed our toe a few times, no question about that. But through the years, we've been able to hire really, really great people. And I'm so proud of our leadership team now, their experience, their longevity with the company. And we really key on bringing people up within the company. We won't, if we have an opening, we need to go outside, we'll go outside if we have to. But we look inside first because we find that they already know our culture, they know our systems, they know the way we think, the way, we're a family organization, even though we're a pretty large organization now. I pride ourselves being the Judge Fite family. And
how many employees do you have now?
well, we have about 1,050 agents and another 150 plus employees. So we're in the 1,300 range, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we would rather bring people in from inside the company than outside if we possibly can. It doesn't always work, but that's what we found works best.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking about people and how
Yeah.
what's mattered the most in building,
Right.
building a longevity.
Yeah, I believe in the theory of Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. Hire the right people, put them in the right seat on the bus, and you'll have a good bus ride. If you don't, you won't.
True.
And make mistakes along the way sometimes, and they probably make mistakes joining us too. I get that too. We're not for everybody.
Yeah, can't be everybody's cup of tea. So one thing that really stood out to me is your philosophy of choosing to succeed rather than survive. What does that mean to you today, and how has that mindset shaped the way that you lead?
Well, I was back then. They had president of the Greater Dallas Association of Realtors, which is now called Metrotex, back in 1986. In 1986 was the beginning of a 7-year recession. So 86 to 92. And as president of that association, you have a monthly board meeting and had 22 board members. I remember like it was yesterday. Excuse me. And so back then we didn't have this regional MLS like we have today. So everybody had their kind of niche markets around the table. And so I asked everybody to give a report. This was the beginning of a recession. What are you seeing in your sub market of Dallas Fort Worth? And so they go around the room. They were talking about their market and what they're seeing. And then we get right over here on the right-hand side of the table. And I started at the left, so about number 18 or so. And this very high-level number 2 real estate firm in DFW, the CEO or president, whatever her title was at the time, she goes drama on me. Now, I understand, I'm president. I'm trying to keep control. And she goes, oh, my gosh. This is the worst thing. I'm just trying to survive. I'm trying to get through this. Oh my God. And just goes on and on and on. And I'm not a gavel guy. I'm not a power hungry kind of person. I try not to be. And but they give the president a gavel. And I think that's the only time I used the gavel that whole year. And I grabbed the gavel and I slammed it down on the table. And I said to the board that day, I am not here to survive. I'm here to succeed. There was a Power of Moments. If you ever read the book, Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath, I recommend it to you and your audience. But there was a moment in my life where I realized, and I said to the board that day, if you set a goal to survive and you don't quite make it, you're not going to be here.
Yeah, you're failing.
You're done. You're out.
Yeah.
You set a goal to succeed and you don't quite make it, you're in the game. And if you do succeed, you're really in the game. And so back in the Great Recession, another recession, I started writing a book, Success Through a Recession. And I published it 4 or 5 years ago. It's out on Amazon. But it's all stems from that day with that lady going drama on me and just talking about survival. And I go, no, I'm not here to survive. I'm here to succeed. And you heard me say earlier in an earlier meeting we were in, Brandy, if you're not growing, you're dying. And you've got to have that growth mindset. in order to succeed in an entrepreneurial setting.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't stay stagnant, especially not nowadays
Mm-mm.
with AI and everything just changing so quickly.
Yep,
You got to stay on top of
you
it
do.
if you're going to be any kind of business owner
Absolutely.
nowadays. Okay, so you've spent so much time not only building a company, but also developing people. When you think about great real estate professionals, what are the most important qualities you believe they need to develop?
Again, a little
Pick up the phone,
cliche.
huh?
A little cliche. I would start with a service-minded attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that attitude is 90% of anything we do.
Mm-hmm.
You go to sports and they'll tell you sport, if you don't have the right attitude in sports, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so it starts with that attitude, and I'll say a service-minded attitude. In real estate or in service business, that's critical. Am I here to serve people, or am I here to make money?
Mm-hmm.
Money is the byproduct of the service you render. The more service you give, you should be paid for what you do. Let me make that very clear. I firmly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But the service-minded realtor will make more money than the person chasing the transaction or the
Paycheck, yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah.
And then it goes into, like you said, prospecting, developing a database, having a good CRM and using it. CRM being customer relationship management system software,
Mm-hmm.
and then use it. It's one thing to have it, but it's something else to get our agents and every agent out there in the world to use their CRM.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you use it, the more money it's going to make you, the more contacts you'll make. Goals, critical. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I were planning our next big vacation on Sunday. 3 hours. We were at the dining table with a world atlas and various things, and I had chat in there, and I was
Mm-hmm.
doing it, putting it in AI because it's going to be a kind of fly and drive trip.
Fun.
And so we were trying to, okay, if we have this many days, I mean, it was amazing what chat would do. But
Yeah.
here's my point. People will spend more time planning a vacation
Mm-hmm.
than they will their life
Mm-hmm.
or their career.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have a goal and you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly believe that attitude, yes, prospecting for customers, staying in touch, giving that service, and then having goals and then working toward the goals. What am I going to do today to achieve the goal in the future?
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
help?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah. Perfect.
boy, that was a quick answer
Yeah,
for.
that's good. So culture. Culture can be talked about a lot, but building it, protecting it are two different things. How do you create a company culture that really develops people and supports long-term success?
Well, it starts 40 some odd years ago. Remember, I was president of the Dallas Association of Realtors,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the very good fortune. It was when of being trained in strategic planning when I was going through the chairs of the association. That was the buzzword of the
Yeah.
MBA programs
Oh,
back
yeah.
in the early 80s.
Strategic
And
planning.
your audience here never was alive in the early 80s. I was. But that was the thing, MBAs were being taught
Mm-hmm.
strategic planning. And I guess that was my college education along with a lot of other schooling, which I won't get into. But the fact is, I took to strategic planning like a duck to water. And the foundation of a strategic plan is a mission. Why are you in business? And our mission is very simple, and it's been that way for over 40 years. Same mission: serve the community, develop people, have fun, and achieve profits. That's our mission.
Mm-hmm.
From there, it goes to other, things that some people put on the wall, but we try to live it.
Yeah.
It's a living, breathing thing with us, and those are our 5 core values. Our I think we have 5 or 6 uniques. I think we have 6 uniques now. We just added one this year. 6 uniques that makes our company unique from everybody else in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all foundational things that create a value. But if you really get, those are business foundational things.
Yeah.
Okay. But our culture started with my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a leader in real estate. He had all the awards and all the offices and all that offices in the real estate association, a very small company.
Mm-hmm.
When Jan and my sister and I bought the company from mom and dad, we had one office and 8 people.
Wow.
And but back then, he bought houses, he sold houses, he had rental property. That's where I learned to mow yards.
Yeah.
And but he had this thing about service, and he had this thing about family.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a culture statement. We're a diversified group of people that work together as a family and operate like a business. That culture statement has been in our company over 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
long before diversity was a thing.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Long
All the
before that.
keyword, yeah.
We hired
Buzzwords
our
at the
first
time.
Spanish-speaking agent 40 some odd years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
she's still with this company today.
Awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I just saw her name running around. She's in our Cedar Hill office, and I run into her when I'm out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're a diversified group of people work together as a family. I say you join the Judge Fite Company, you join the Judge Fite family.
Mm-hmm.
You join Century 21 Judge Fite, you join the Judge Fite family. When I address something, I address it to the Judge Fite family.
Mm-hmm.
When I send a new agent a personal note when they join the company, it says,
Yeah.
welcome home.
Yeah.
Because we want that culture permeated throughout all of our people.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be treated like family. We also have to operate a business. We got to make payroll. We got to pay the rent. We got to pay utilities. Copy machine goes out. Got to fix it. Got to buy a new one.
Yeah, I think that's when businesses get so busy with the day to day that sometimes they don't. The culture and all that isn't a priority, or isn't.
And it should be.
Yeah,
by the way, they have a culture.
Yeah, it is.
It is whatever.
Whatever has happened under the lack of leadership pushing it through without those mission statements and the updates, the monthly updates, and all that keeps people tied in.
I hope so. And that's the goal.
And I can
by the way,
attest to that.
That's why we have been in the top 5 places to work in DFW 14 years in a row.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I can attest to that too, just from working in my previous career in an office where we had most of our employees were contract workers or working at other locations, and it was hard to keep them in the family. They didn't always feel like they were.
Don't sound like a real estate company.
Yeah, because they're out there doing their own thing or whatever. But so it is. It's important, and it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes. So yeah, I definitely can appreciate that. Okay, over the years, what leadership lessons have had the biggest impact on you personally? Leadership lessons.
Well, I'll say life lessons. Get up and go to work. Called the work ethic. Plan your work your plan. Have a plan, and then take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Your people would be, in my case, and they don't belong to me, but our
team.
people would be our employees, our real estate professionals, our clients, our vendors. All of those are related to each other. In the way we've built our organization and our companies, plural companies, multiple companies, is they work off of each other. So that if you, Randy, sell a house to a buyer, we have in-house mortgage, we have in-house title, we have vendors that can paint the house. We just met one this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that'll move them. We have, it's real estate services company. You ask about leadership, but it's having, I try to be humble about this, but it's having that vision of what does the customer need and how can we provide that need to that customer through you, the realtor.
Yeah. Yeah, and having all those services and everything it is a big deal.
And having answers available. I don't know all the answers. I've only been doing it 54 years. I'm kind of new at it, but I don't know everything. But I know people that I can get an answer for, anybody on any subject in real estate related business. And that's, I think, having the structure around for our people, or that I probably didn't even answer the question, but it's all related. I think it's all about people. At the end of the day, take care of them. They take care of you. We're in it together.
Yeah, I think you've built a strong leadership team that you can call on, like we were talking earlier, that you can call on if you don't know the answer. You can make a phone call or two and get the answer.
And I'll also
So
add,
you don't have to have all the answers as leadership, but you have the people to call in when you need it, right?
allowing our leaders to lead. But as an example, we have strategic planning in October, 2 day, it's actually 4 day now, 3.5 days. And before that, we've already handed out 2 books for them to read before they get there. These are required readings before October that you will read, and we'll be talking about that.
Be ready to discuss.
Yeah, be ready to discuss.
Yeah.
And Mindset, which I mentioned this morning, is one of the books we're reading. And by the way, Eric, my son, is COO of the company. He picked the books this year.
Nice.
He said, "This one and this one, and another one is 10x. 10x is better than 2x or something like that."
Okay.
So that's leadership. Giving them information that will help them be better at their job, so we can help you be better at your job, so you can serve your client better.
So we can be better at
on a transaction.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Okay. So from the client side of things, what do you think people and communities need most from real estate professionals right now?
They need service. That's a key word there I've been using. They need negotiating skills. I listen to a lot of recordings, business recordings, real estate guru recordings. I've done it my whole life. And one of the recordings by Earl Nightingale, called "Lead the Field," which is the first one my dad ever gave me, said most real estate people don't sell real estate, they show houses. They don't sell real estate, they show houses. And the fact is, we should, as a realtor, be able to price a house for the benefit of the client, the seller, to help that buyer get financing, be the hub of that transaction, find that plumber, painter, roofer, whatever for that seller.
Yeah.
We are the hub of that transaction. And anything that happens in that transaction, we should have our finger in it. We don't have to do it. We're not going to make the loan personally as a realtor. But we got to know that loan is moving forward. We got to know that title work is being done and moving forward. We got to know that painter is going to be finished by closing date. We've got to know when the seller gets an offer and maybe they're priced too high, is this really a good offer that they should consider? And be able to communicate why that is. Not just looking for a sale.
Yeah.
Not just looking for a commission. That's not the way you gain friends and influence people. You do it by giving that knowledge, that service, that attention, that communication.
Yeah.
How many realtors? I call realtors all the time. They never call me back.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And they expect to serve people that way? I don't think so.
Yeah. And when the first couple of things that came to my mind was communication and education, besides just showing a house.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, that's that telephone call, email, text, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To make sure everybody knows what's happening during the course of that transaction. And then after the transaction, being there, you said community, being there for the community, giving back to the community and or staying in touch with that client, because that client may be moving from Chicago to Dallas and they need a dentist, or they need a, whatever service provider they need. They don't have one here. They had one in Chicago, but they don't have. That's what a realtor does.
Yeah,
we take care of our people.
Try to connect them with anything they need. That's why I try to tell them, like, you need a referral, just call me. I've got a referral for everything, kind of thing.
I was with an agent yesterday in our Dallas Bishop Arts office, and she was telling me about a listing that the lady's getting, a single lady, getting her house ready for sale. She's going to move to Houston, and how she was over there coaching her about a garage sale and how to
Mm.
set this up. And, you know,
Mhm.
she's a realtor. She's going to sell a house, right? She's going to
Yeah.
list it and get it sold. But here she is giving that service to that client far beyond
Mhm.
what she has to do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that answer. Yeah. Okay. So, advice to agents. For agents who want to build a meaningful and lasting career, what advice would you give them?
Core value number 4 of our company is commitment to be goal focused and results driven. Commitment. That's a
Mhm.
big word. Sometimes overlooked.
Mhm. Yeah.
Commitment means
It's a lot
I
easier to
am
say than to
going
do.
to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Commitment to be goal focused and results driven. And more important than that, in my opinion, is our core value number 5, disciplined. Disciplined is a key word to do our job at its best.
Mhm.
So, commitment to your career, commitment to your client, commitment to your fellow agents, the commitment to your company, commitment to, just name something at the end.
Mhm.
And then discipline. Many entrepreneurs are here and there and yonder. And, Dave Ramsey in his book, Baby Step Millionaires, was interviewing the billionaire. And he said, "What's your favorite book?" And the billionaire said, after took a couple of paragraphs, finally got it out: The Tortoise and the Hare.
Mhm.
The tortoise always wins. The tortoise in real estate always wins. The commitment and the discipline to make the calls, to follow up, to follow through, to take care of the customer. It sounds like a bunch of words that are real easy. They're not easy,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but that's where the commitment, I'm going to make it easy by saying commitment and discipline.
Mhm.
And by the way, core value number 3, world-class service. So, that's kind of the umbrella over those two.
Yeah.
So I think the question was, what would I recommend to an agent?
Mhm.
You've got to commit, you got to have discipline, you got to make calls, you got to follow up, you got to follow through, you got to take care of the customer. And every day, it's a daily thing. It's not a sometimes thing. It's not a part-time thing.
Mhm.
It's a real deal.
Yeah. And like we were said earlier too, that commitment to education, I think you can't.
Oh, you never stop
Yeah.
learning in this business.
Yeah. We'd never,
It
no
changes
shortage
all the
of
time.
CEs or whatever, and regulations are changing. Fair
So
Housing Administration, things are changing. Everything's always changing.
always
So it's like,
changing.
it's so funny. We were like, learning all this stuff about the FinCEN regulations that were coming up, and we're like, this is what we're gonna have to do starting this date. And then it was like we got to that date, and they're like, nope, that's on hold. Just kidding. So it's like we're being prepared for then something that we
Didn't happen.
Yeah, didn't happen yet. So
Well, my
that's
father gave me very sound advice when I told him I wanted to quit college and go in real estate. He said, on 2 conditions. Number 1, you read, study, or think an hour a day, 5 days a week for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, I was down the street at breakfast, a little before 7, maybe
Mm-hmm.
6:30ish, and I was reading the book, and I was thinking about how to implement certain things we're working on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Read, study, and think. And I've been doing that now for 54 years. Second thing, you sit in a classroom 12 days a year, average 1 day a month.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's a convention, whether that's a conference, whether that's a class that I'm taking. And by the way, he went on to say it doesn't have to always be about real estate. It could be about marriage. It could be
Yeah.
about raising kids, when I should have done that more of it. But they turned out okay so far.
Yeah.
But seriously, it can be about a lot of things, because you want that well-rounded life. You don't just want to be a realtor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even though some days we are.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that was probably the best advice I ever got
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
from anybody, from my
Yeah.
father. And I committed to him that
Yeah.
night. I would do that. So
1 hour a day and
5 days a week,
5 days a week and
average,
one
5 hours a week,
day a month in the classroom.
12 days a year in a classroom.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
And I've been some years over 30 days a month in a classroom.
Wow. That's a lot of, yeah. But it does take a lot to learn everything. And always changing and new tools and
you'll never know it all.
AI and yeah.
You'll never know it all.
Yeah. All right, Jim, before we wrap it up, I'd love to get your perspective on something a lot of people are wondering right now. How is the war affecting interest rates and home sales? And what do you think buyers, sellers, and agents should be paying attention to in this kind of market?
Boy, that's a loaded question. Like war loaded, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
I've
You've seen a lot of recessions over the years.
I've been through. Actually, I started my career at the end of the Vietnam War.
Wow.
I've been through the Gulf War. I've been through various other conflicts, we'll call them.
Right.
And thank God we live in the United States of America. That's all I got to say. Thank God we're not having a real war on our soil.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, we're not in fear of missiles hitting our schools and churches.
Exactly right.
Data centers or whatever.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, we are somewhat shielded from the war, the actual fighting going on. By the way, you didn't ask this question, but if you ask me, what do I regret in my life? I only have one.
What's that?
Not serving my country.
Yeah.
I tried to join the Navy right out of high school. It wouldn't take me, but that's another story. Anyway, the war, when it happens, and I'm just being several conflicts
in general,
I've seen.
Right. Yeah, not this one specific.
When it immediately happens, we as Americans go into shock. We go into, oh my gosh, what does this mean? And then we figure out, thank goodness we're shielded from that. It's not on our soil. It's not happening to us personally, even though it may be a loved one over there or somebody we care about or friend or whatever. But it's not directly affecting our everyday life. People are still buying real estate. They're still selling real estate, and they will continue. But there's usually, a hump to get over. And certainly the first week or two, everybody was talking about it. Everybody was worried about it. But I think things are kind of where they were before we started the conflict right now. Now, we start shooting guns again in a different way. Maybe we'll have another hump to get over.
Yeah.
And it'll happen. But at the end of the day, people still get married. My daughter did Saturday, excuse me.
Yes, congratulations.
Then she bought a house. Her new husband bought a house.
Awesome.
People have babies. People get divorced. People die. Those are
get
things.
Laid off,
those are life things. They get a new job. They get laid off. They get transferred. All those things are life happenings that create needs for you and me to help them whatever they want to do and need to do for their life, whether there's a war or whether there's not a war. So with that in mind, I find that if there's a blip, and then it kind of levels out. Interest rates, I have an opinion. 3+ years ago, when we went from 3% interest rates on houses up to 7% in a 60-day period of time.
That's crazy.
It was a shock to the system.
Yeah.
And boy, did it just start a real estate recession. I mean, that quick. It happened that quick. 60 days is that quick in real estate.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have an opinion of how they could have kept that from happening, but nobody asked me. They should have. And I would have told them a year before they should have heightened them up a little bit instead of just that shock.
Yeah.
Well, as a result of that, we had a few months where it was slow, and then it picked back up, not to where it was before with 3% interest, but we have been hovering around 4.3 million homes in the United States being sold a year for, I guess, 2.5, 3 years now. And I believe that if we see interest rates below 6, 5.875, 5.75, 5.5, when we see interest rates drop for over a month, it's going to, we had one little blip of a week.
Yeah, I know.
Where it happened.
Yeah, we get the updates and meetings and they're like, oh, it was 5.75 for like a day.
A day, yeah. We'll get a little blip, but when it's there for a month, we're going to see buyers coming out of the woodwork, and we're going to see more sellers come out of the woodwork. Because there's a middle thing between 3 and 5, I can deal with that. Between 3 and 6 or 7,
Yeah,
I
3
think
to
I'll
6
stay where
is
I am.
double. Yeah, and
So,
and someone, that's double. That's
but here's the good news: people still get married, people have babies, people move.
hmm
So there's still opportunities for us to serve our clients,
yeah,
and we're doing a great job.
yeah. You think we'll get back down to 3?
No, not in my lifetime.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
that was. I hope so.
yeah. It'd be great if we
Wouldn't it be
did, but
great for the
yeah, I think
for
everybody I've asked so far that
affordability and
they've
all
said
that? But
no, maybe
that
5.
was a false positive there. That was just not a real market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, to wrap it up, what is one smart move listeners can make right now, whether it's in business, real estate, or life?
Gosh,
One
business,
smart
real
move.
estate. Well, real estate would be buy low, sell high. um, and by the way, when you have a buyer and seller, it's got to be win-win, or it won't happen.
Yeah.
But seriously, in real estate, there's no time like the present to buy. Ultimately, it's going to go up. I wouldn't have what I have in my life if I hadn't bought my first rent house, Brandy, 53 years ago,
Wow.
and I still own it today.
Yeah,
I still get rent every month.
that's awesome.
53 years I paid for that house.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, bought a whole bunch since. But the fact is, real estate goes up in value.
hmm
Okay? It's just historically, that's the way it is. So don't put it off. Just bite the bullet. If you're going to pay 6.25%, 6.5% interest, guess what? If rates do drop, the good news is you're buying it at today's price. But if rates do drop, you can always refinance.
hmm
So that's that. Business.
What do they
Don't
say? Marry the house and date the rake.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good one. Yep, that's it. And then from a business perspective, don't go in debt.
Mm.
Pay cash.
Yeah.
I listen to Ramsey's EntreLeadership. We run our company through the book Traction by Gino Wickman and the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Debt in a recessionary time will put you out of business. Um, Save your money. Keep your money in your company. My book has a whole chapter on that and how to put X number of dollars away and make
Which book
sure
is that?
success through a recession.
Okay, we'll put
Um,
notes in the
oh, good.
link. Show notes.
But yeah, for business, it's, just like personal life, in my opinion. If you don't have debt, you can do a whole lot more with your life. But you have debt, it's going to restrain you. It's going to give you ulcers. It's going to give you stress.
hmm
Um, and that's not a healthy thing. And then you
Yes.
said personal, right?
Yeah, a
Okay.
business, real estate, or life.
And life would be trust in God. I'm a believer in my God. And, I believe there's reason for all things. Sometimes things don't happen like I want them. Well, that's their story, and I got to live with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe in trusting God, and I believe in family. That's our culture of our company is family, and I believe my personal family and what they've mean to me, and hopefully what I mean to them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it makes a difference. And then in our company, the Judge Fite family is family. And,
Mm-hmm.
we want to keep that culture. And that's hard when you grow.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you have we speak 36 languages in our company.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And we're all family,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
That's a lot of
amazing.
languages.
It's a lot of
for
languages.
Texas.
People from
For
around the
Dallas,
world.
Texas.
That's right. But I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
That's part of that culture. Diversified group of people work together as a family and operate like a business.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helped.
Yeah. Very much. Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your insight, experience, and perspective. I really appreciate your time and the wisdom you shared with our listeners. And thank you for joining us for this episode of The Smart Move. I'm Brandy Rose July, your real estate and project professional, and I believe smart real estate decisions can open doors, create opportunity, and help people build a stronger future, including the opportunity to create generational wealth. If this episode was helpful, be sure to subscribe, share it with someone who would enjoy it, and reach out if I can help you make your next smart move in North Texas. I'll see you next time on The Smart Move.